What's up guys? Matt, Legacy 4x4. I got a new project. Pretty excited to show you guys about it. Alright, we got a nice full pole barn over here. A lot of good projects going on. Really stoked about this. As you can see in the back, we got the 1939 back there, and we got the Dodge rock crawler right there as well. Dodge is getting a steering box in it pretty soon, and hopefully it'll line up to where Jake finishes his Willys project. I put that new steering box in there and we can go wheel together a nice little full-size adventure. But those are not the topics for today. The topic of today is this new rock crawler chassis I just picked up. So as a lot of you know, I did just move, and moving meant I went on the weight scales, and it turns out my Dodge rock crawler is a little over 8,000 pounds, which is just entirely too heavy. With the full cage, original frame rails, even though it's back halved and bobbed and everything, it's still very heavy. So I was in the market for a tube chassis. I wanted to make one myself, but with these enormously high steel prices, I was looking at like $600 a stick here or DOM. It just totally wasn't worth it. So I went on Facebook. Facebook brought me to a nice gentleman who wanted to get rid of this project he had lost interest in. It was this entire tube chassis without the drivetrain. The chassis came basically tack welded. I have to finish all those welds in there, but it's all 1.5 inch DOM, and the lowers are 1.5 inch quarter wall DOM, so they're very thick. But with steel prices as high as they are, this is a great start. Obviously it's a little rusty and there needs to be a lot more gusseting in order to link all the cage together, but for the most part it's got really good bones. And as you can see, I already got started working on it. I hung my drivetrain in here, and this is a drivetrain I've never seen before, and I'm super stoked to show you guys about it. Alright, it's a pretty rare engine, not commonly seen in the United States, so I'll let you guys look at it real fast before I tell you what it is. If you guessed an SD33 diesel engine out of International Scouts, as well as some Jeep tug trucks for the military, you are correct. And it came out of the latter. It came out of a 60s or 70s era Jeep tug truck for the Air Force, and it makes about 150 foot-pounds of torque. It's a really small diesel mechanically injected power plant, but I think it will be perfect for this buggy. I think it's unique, and I think it will look really cool when it's finished. It's made it to a 727 transmission with that adapter plate, as well as, get this, a 198 transfer case. Yeah, not a 208, it's a 198. It's a military special transfer case. The only difference between the 198 and the 208 is that the 198 is locked into 4-low all the time through a metal plate, but that 198 is a military special. I've never seen or heard of one before I purchased this driveline, so I'm pretty stoked. We're gonna run it till it breaks and then hopefully swap an Atlas in. I will definitely go over more of this engine and driveline as I get to making it run, but right now I really just want to get it hung in this chassis, and then I want to get rid of all this rust and paint the chassis. That way everything looks nice and pretty, and it's a good starting point. Alright, for these motor mounts in the front, you can see them right there. They got rubber bushings and then steel wings on the outside. Pretty typical clamshell motor mount. I'm going to make some 1/4 inch gussets, I'm going to make some 1/4 inch walls, and I'm going to link that to the tube chassis. It'll be nice and easy. Just a bunch of shapes, a bunch of cardboard. That's how I'm going to do it. But for the cross member, I'm going to reuse the stock cross member that came on the 727, clean it off, and then weld it right into the frame just like that. I think that will be plenty sturdy and allow that transmission cross member to stay in place with some nice tube work right there. I know black iron is not ideal in terms of tube work, but I think that'll work perfectly fine, and then I'll trim up that cross member to make it kind of look like it belongs there. So that's the plan. That's how I'm going to get those in. I'm going to go ahead and weld in this cross member real fast, and then I can work on doing the geometry to get the front of the engine perfectly straight. A quick thing I should add is that the engine is about 2 inches towards the passenger side. That's because that Dana 60 rear is about 5 inches to the passenger side from factory, so I'm just going to line those U-joints up perfectly, and I don't think that 2-inch difference in the engine is going to make it that big of a difference in terms of weight distribution. Alright guys, so I pulled the whole chassis out, everything's in place. Let me show you. Coming around to the motor mounts, you can see right there, all I did was plasma cut a 1/4 inch plate, and then I bolted that to the clamshell motor mounts that came stock, and then I plasma cut some more pieces of steel, and then I tacked those in place on the tube frame, and that's how it's going to work. I am going to throw a tube joint between each of these faces in the middle, add a little structural rigidity there, but for now I'm just going to fully weld all of this in place, make sure everything's nice and square, and then I'll come back afterwards and put that tube in there. That way I don't really sacrifice space welding in between these two points. So yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm going to go ahead and take the wire wheel to all the joints that I need to re-weld, and all the joints I need to finish welding, get everything nice and prepped, and then come back and hit a 220 pass on everything. Alright, so it's a little tall. These Fox air shocks are sitting at like stock pressure, so they're a little stiff. I definitely need to tune this. I need to take a lot of pressure out of those shocks, which means I gotta go buy the nitrogen fill kit for the Fox air shocks, which I needed to buy anyways, since one of these shocks isn't even filled up at all because it's missing the nipple. As you can see, this Fox air shock is missing the nipple. There's absolutely zero pressure in it. It's just letting in the nice moist air to ruin the inside of that shock, so I need to get on that right away. But that's how those shock mounts work. Those are the Fox air shocks on. That Pantar is pretty far extended, so I think that's probably going to be like max flex at max ride height that I want it at, so I'm going to drop these down a lot. So let me tell you guys what I'm doing for paint. The first step is going to be using this Vht Rust Converter. I like this VHT because it comes in a spray can. I just went ahead and bought 2 of the 6-packs off Amazon, and that should be enough for the whole tube chassis. The VHT can says you should remove all of the loose rust that you can before you spray it, but I got a bum shoulder, so that's not in the books for me. So here's how it looks when it's working. This is the first coat. As you can see, it's kind of drying and attacking that rust as it dries. You know, this might not get 100% of the rust, but it is going to go ahead and seal all that rust in and stop that rust from spreading anymore. Oh, also as well, let me show you guys some more tubes that I added. Just a little bit of gussets here and there. As you can see, those front shock hoops have some gusset tube work going from the front clip to those front shock hoops. And then I went ahead and added a windshield gusset as well, just because there wasn't one there before. Not entirely sure why there wasn't, but went ahead and added that in. After I paint it, I'm probably going to go and add some more gussets to the back. Just not in the mood to do that right now. Also don't have any more tube that's the right size. Alright guys, big step forward. Just got done with all 12 cans of the Rust Converter, as well as got a little touch paint for, you'll see the actual color. This is 2.5 coats of the Rust Converter. If I get up close, you can see all that rust is gone. It's eaten away. And if there was little rust, it is now a nice black tone, but throughout the rest of it you can see there's still a little bit of brown left. Not too worried about it. I think most of the rust will be either gone or it will not be able to spread, so I'm happy with that. But right now the Rust Converter is doing its work. I'll give this a few hours to dry, come back, make sure all the rust is gone, and then we'll be good to go for the final paint color, which I'm really stoked. Final paint color is going to be Forest Green Metallic from Rust-Oleum. I just got another 12 cans of this because I don't want to use a spray gun. I just went ahead and sprayed a little bit of that Forest Green Metallic on here as well. It's a little bit drippy right now since I sprayed it over the Rust Converter. I think I'm going to call it here, go get some lunch, and then when I come back, paint all this bad boy up and then show you guys the finished product and finish this introductory video for the second time of my new tube chassis. That's the look. That's the final color. I still have to hit it with another coat next time I bring it in the light. That way I get a nice good area of where I need to respray. This is 3 coats of the Rust-Oleum Metallic. I have 4 more cans, so I'll do 1 more coat. Nice little final layer next time it's a nice sunny day out. That's it for this one, guys. That's the introduction to the tube chassis rock crawler. Should be pretty fun. It looks pretty freaking sweet with that metallic green. I absolutely love that color. I did buy a nice set of PRP suites with some chocolate bottoms, tan interiors, and tweed seating pads, so this should look pretty cool in there. I think that's the color scheme I'm going to go with. So yeah guys, that's it for that one. I will catch you guys next time.